opens up to many topics, not only what we were doing with the alkaline kitchen, but for many other aspects of life, and also the best we can be, both, nutritionally, mentally, and physically.
There's also, I believe, a myriad of topics that we could discuss related to our overall well-being and health, nutritional, psychological, and spiritual even. But what's interesting is that we also watched a tremendous movie called Forks Over Knives, and I'm going to actually include it in my channel.
Yeah, if you could have a link.
I will. I'll just put it. I'll put it up.
Oh, okay.
You can do that.
I didn't know that.
So you can see it as one of my favorite videos.
It's a documentary
About why a plant-based diet is not only healthy, but actually can be curative for major diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and the cancers.
The average American now carries 23 extra pounds.
59 grams of fat. You could actually save 12 grams of the fat and half the calories if you simply ate an entire stick of butter.
We're talking about diabetes and hypertension and bone diseases, osteoporosis.
Doctors say we really need to eat less red and processed meat.
We have unprecedented amount of type 2 diabetes in our children, and we're starting to see hypertension in our children in grammar school.
Clearly, the Western diet is taking a toll. This should serve as a wake-up call. We have a growing problem, and the ones who are growing are us.
Why
Food.
I believe this movie is so important for you to watch is because it's very persuasive.
It persuaded me. And it's actually a documentary from the research of two very notable scientists, one who headed the Cleveland Clinic heart program, right? Mm-hmm. I can't remember, Herzberger or something. I forgot his name. But anyway,
I have it here somewhere.
And also the other was a Dr. Campbell who was a nutritionist from Canada.
Essless.
The question as to what I did in our experimental animal studies, actually, with regards to casein, the main protein of cow's milk, and how it related to cancer. I mean, that was some of the early work I got involved in. Came out of the Philippines, because there we were pushing protein for feeding malnourished children. What I saw was those families who consumed the most protein, not many, they seemed to have the children who were more likely to get liver cancer. That was a special interest I had. And then there was a report from India, also reporting something similar in experimental animals. Higher protein intake basically turns on cancer. Did
you know that protein was discovered by a person from the Netherlands?
Of course.
Of course. She's Dutch.
I'm Dutch.
All these geniuses that they had.
Yes.
So actually, protein was discovered in 1860 or something like that. So
it was like isolated? Or
isolated.
Yeah.
It was really one of the first vitamin or protein components, nutritional components of food ever discovered.
Protein was also nearly synonymous with animal-based foods like meat. It still is today, all over America.
Why do you think meat is important in our diet?
Protein.
Protein?
Protein.
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 A lot of protein.
We need protein, don't we? We can't live without protein.
In the 40s, they still said we needed about 8 to 10% of our diet should be protein, which is fine. But later on, as the propaganda became to escalate, it became higher and higher until basically everyone's meals are centered around the protein, which is the meat. And people don't even feel that plants have protein, or that it has an inferior protein.
Not the same kind
Not
of
the
protein.
same
Right.
protein is protein is protein.
This could be the first generation of children in the United States that lives less than its parents.
But could there be a single solution to all of these problems? A solution so comprehensive, yet so straightforward, that it's mind-boggling that more of us haven't taken it seriously?
Someone has to stand up and say that the answer isn't another pill. The answer is spinach.
A growing number of researchers claim that if we eliminate or greatly reduce refined, processed, and animal-based foods, we can prevent, and in certain cases even reverse, several of our worst diseases.
But the really important thing too is that plant protein is much easier on your digestive tract.
It is.
And it's more healing in the actual metabolism.
Yes.
Like if you have legumes, you know, they say the more legumes like lentils and beans and so forth, the healthier your metabolism.
Yeah. And another thing that was pointed out in the movie is that if you keep your protein consumption, even if it comes from animals, to about 8 to 10% of your nutritional intake, well, then you're pretty safe. Cancer seeds, sort of like the potential to have cancer is always within us. But it's the phase in which that cancer develops that's the longest phase, and it could take like 20, 30 years to develop that cancer. And what contributes to the acceleration of the growth of the cancer are the animal products. And what contributes to the reduction of those cancers or heart disease or whatever it is plant-based diseases.
They say all we need to do is adopt a whole foods plant-based diet. It sounds almost too simple to be true.
This is food for thought.
This is food for thought. And I hope that what we've given you is giving you a little bit of food for thought. And so please join us next time.
Yes, please, join us also in your comments.
Yes. And we'll see you.
Welcome them.
Yes. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.